So here in the UK is a bank holiday weekend because they just randomly have days off in the UK. It is a long weekend in the United States as well. It is known as Memorial Day. That is extremely special growing up in New Jersey. Where I grew up, Memorial Day is really something very, very specific. Something that had a texture, a smell, and a sound to it. And I have to admit that I've been sitting here all week in my humble abode here in England thinking about past Memorial Days in New Jersey. It just really kind of made me nostalgic for what's happening at the Jersey Shore. I should say the New Jersey Shore right now. First, for anyone that's watching that isn't American or from the United States, Memorial Day is a federal holiday. It's the last Monday of May, officially a day of remembrance for the men and women who died serving in the United States military. But it's also, and any Americans watching will know exactly what I mean, the unofficial start of summer. The pools open, the beaches start to fill up, they start charging in New Jersey. The ones that do charge. Barbecues come out of the garages, the lawns are nicely manicured. Basically anything that's been locked up since October comes out for air. And the roads to get down to the New Jersey Shore are an absolute nightmare. They are jam-packed. Lots of people take, Thursday and Friday off, the Thursday or Friday off before Memorial Day Monday. Make it a long weekend, go rent a house or an hotel room for the weekend. It's a really, really big deal in New Jersey. And I just want to recognize that it can be both those things at once, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. And for me, it always has been a somber weekend and also a weekend of celebration. And they were always been sitting right next to each other in my mind. I guess if you think about it, that combination is actually very American. But here's what I actually remember. The really specific things. Growing up in New Jersey, Memorial Day weekend had a particular sequence to it in my family, as most things did when I was growing up. We would plant flags in all of the veterans' graves in the local cemetery. The morning of Memorial Day, or sometimes that Saturday morning, his veterans group would have a ritual where they would go to the 5 different veterans monuments in the area and do a 21 gun salute to all of the fallen soldiers. And I remember standing there as a kid watching the ceremony, watching the parade, helping my dad put the flags out. Young enough that the sound of the gun still startled me, even though I knew it was coming. But watching grown men in uniform fire rifles into the sky for the people who were no longer with us. It was very important to my father. It was a very proud moment for him. Basically became a very, very important, specific moment for me. And the formality of it and how carefully we placed all the flags at the headstones, it just makes you very aware and conscious at a very young age that the long weekend that we were about to have meant something more than just, a barbecue having. And then you immediately shift. You immediately shift from that somber ceremony to, going to the beach and planning your barbecue for the rest of the weekend. Or both. Usually both, actually. This mix of smell in the air of sunscreen and charcoal, burgers and chicken, and my mother always made like sausage and peppers. The smell of it cooking on the grill, the smell of the ocean and the sand. It's the specific quality of that first genuinely warm weekend after a New Jersey winter. There's music coming from somewhere, down the street, your own backyard, someone just passing by in their car with the windows down. And at some point, inevitably, Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run blares to where everyone in the neighborhood can hear it. I know that kind of sounds like a cliche to people who are outside of that like New Jersey bubble. Bruce Springsteen, he is almost a god to a lot of New Jerseyans. And if you told me that you didn't hear Bruce Springsteen's song at some outdoor gathering during Memorial Day weekend, I don't know that I'd believe you. Especially Born to Run, because it's not just a song if you're from New Jersey. It's this feeling. It's this angst of wanting to get out and wanting to see the world and experience something new, of needing something more in your life, and about that specific restlessness of being young in a place that feels like home, but also simultaneously like a starting off point. And I guess, especially for me, I completely identified with that feeling. The slightly funny thing is, and the thing I've really only understood since I've left, is the song's about escaping New Jersey. And yet it's the most New Jersey song ever written, probably. I've been in the UK for 3 years now, and most of the time, honestly, the distance feels pretty manageable. You find your rhythms and you have your moments, but you build a life and you stop converting everything into dollars and you just start living in the place that you actually are. It's no longer a vacation, you're settled. But there are very specific moments when that distance becomes very concrete. Not so much abstract homesickness, but actual, like a specific missing of an actual event. And for me, Memorial Day is one of them. Not because I can't have, a nice weekend here or go to the beach or have a barbecue or blast Born to Run. I can, and I probably will, because there's just a version of this weekend that belongs to a particular geography and a particular set of people, and I'm not in it any longer. Anyone that has been to New Jersey can definitely attest to the fact that it is a very unique place. Jersey Shore is not something that you can replicate. I grew up going there. I went there when I was young to go out and party and everything. I worked down the Jersey Shore, and it was definitely one of the key places that I wanted to make sure I hit before I left. I have so many memories about it, and especially things like the particular chaos of the Garden State Parkway on Memorial Day weekend or Friday before, not something that you can replace. And the way the whole state kind of seems to just like collectively breathe, exhale from the winter and say, okay, it's summer now. We're going to have some fun and we're going to make it the best summer that we can. I don't know. It's just a feeling that you can't reproduce. It's in the air. It's the collective. It's probably one of the only times in my whole life living in the United States where I actually felt like communal. I think that's one of the things that nobody really tells you about living abroad, and it's probably something that you wouldn't even really understand until you experience it. It's not that you miss home in general, because of course that comes and goes, but it's more about like missing specific rituals or familiarity. The things that happen the same time every year in the same way, the comfort that comes along with knowing the order of things, in those specific moments that remind you of who you were well before you were whoever you are now. Memorial Day is definitely one of mine. But here's what I'll say. I think there's something good about being far away from a place on a day that matters a lot to you, because it makes you pay more attention to it in a way that you may not have if you were just in it. At least for me, I know when I was in it, I didn't appreciate all of the nuances of it and all of the feeling and the sights and the sounds that came along with it. And it also makes you realize that when you're home, something like Memorial Day in New Jersey kind of just happens and you're in it, and then it goes by and you move on with your life. From abroad, I'm actually thinking about it. I'm remembering the specific parts. I'm paying genuine homage to the soldiers that fell and being extremely grateful for them, their sacrifice, and all of those specific nuanced parts that goes with Memorial Day in New Jersey. So if you're back in the States this weekend, enjoy it, genuinely, and really actually enjoy it, and take in all the sights and sounds The beach, the barbecue, the long drive, the sunscreen, the flags, of course, because it's, you know, America. Definitely the music. If you happen to hear Born to Run, which I'm sure you will at some point this weekend, think of me for a minute and just have a little smile. And if you're in the UK, just, you know, a tidbit of what it's like to grow up as a native New Jerseyan and how Memorial Day or Bank Holiday, in May Bank Holiday, however you say it here in the UK, how we celebrate it back home. If you guys have any stories, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'll see you next time.